Good morning traders, Joseph here from Eightcap. So the overall theme of last night was heavy selling. That's continued so far today with the ASX opening another 2.4% lower. We'll just have a quick look at it so we can see the ASX 200 CFD chart here. It basically includes the overnight session as well, so that's why the drop isn't as dramatic as you'd see on the ASX cash so far this morning, but it is 2.4% lower, and that's after yesterday, combining yesterday and last night's move lower of 2.85% on the ASX 200 CFD chart. Now, selling continued very strongly into the US session, as was mainly expected. The Dow having its worst day in 2 years, losing 1,000 points. It was over 3%. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500 also losing over 3%, as global fears around the coronavirus continue to push the current market climate. So European markets as well finished heavily in the red as the US markets came online. So we're just looking at the US30 now. We broke that low last night, so we're talking about that yesterday, and now really what we're starting to keep an eye on is this trend line here. So markets have tested it. We are slightly higher at this stage in the day, but we will just have to see what the response is really to this selling that we've seen, and if we're going to have some good news sort of maybe appear and drive a bit of value buying. So it's not uncommon to see a sharp counter rally after these sorts of breakdowns, and they can sometimes get up quite high. Now the big question then is what happens after the counter rally finishes, because normally they're quite sharp and they can set up a new cascade of selling. But again, that's moving a little bit into the future. Now oil was another one that was hit last night. Now we did see a bit of a fight back from oil last week. We did see a fight back late in the session, and we'll get on to gold in a moment, which also saw a bit of a fade. So pulled back 1.74%, but we've still broken that trend here. But we're still operating inside of that low, so it's more of a range right now in oil. We can see resistance at this point, and we have support that's formed down here at that 49.50 level, and we're trading inside of that area. So we're still basically consolidating at the moment with oil. Now currencies weathered the storm a lot better. We saw risk to the USD, so we can see the Aussie here at the moment. So finished high yesterday and higher again this morning, and the euro as well fought back quite well. Now German IFO business climate came in better than expected, and could have most likely helped support the euro. And on the pound as well, we saw a bit of a late pullback after some pretty decent selling through the European session. The dollar CAD with oil lower, and the dollar mainly higher due to the safe haven status, had a really good session. We saw an increase of 0.32%. We still have to get back up to this level to test and break that resistance for it to really be a confirmed counter, new extension in this current trend. That's the current point that sellers still maintain a bit of a strong footing from at that 33.17 to 33.20 point. And quickly over to the yen, we did see some sharp selling against the risk currencies. That was due to markets coming back to the yen as a safe haven in times of crisis, and the dollar yen finished lower for this session, pulling back some of those sharp gains we saw last week after fears emerged around the Japanese economy. Now we're just going to finish with gold. Now gold, we'll just have a look on the 4 hour. Now, gold saw some selling during the day, and this continued and sort of climaxed late in the US session with a pretty good extension lower. We saw a fall of close to 1%. So not uncommon to see a bit of a pullback start to form after what we've seen so far for the last really 3 weeks of this solid buying. So keep an eye on gold. like we just said, it's not uncommon to see pullbacks after strong momentum. So eyes will be on how that pullback goes and where it stops. And then if we do see a quick snap back or a new higher low form after that. So the fade, which you can see pretty clearly here, started yesterday, and they did hold a higher close yesterday, but there was a 1.81% taken off, and we are lower so far this morning. So if we do see a new rally today that fails and fades off again, we'd be looking for the possibility of a bit more further selling, and that will all revolve around how stocks react today. If we do see a higher stock markets pull back after those losses, we would be thinking and looking for possibly more selling to develop on gold. So keep a good eye on how stocks basically respond today after yesterday's dramatic moves. So have a fantastic trading day, and till tomorrow, good trading, and bye for now.